Well, a warm welcome to you all. For any here who don't know, my name is Mark Franklin, and this is to serve as an introductory segment for a planned YouTube channel. YouTube will be the format that I've chosen to document a much anticipated adventure on the Pacific Crest Trail, also known as the PCT. Later, I'm going to discuss specifics of the trail and my specific plans, but for now I wanted to focus some on my goals and purposes for making this channel. Probably first and foremost, I intend to use it to document and record my journey for my own future reflection and enjoyment, sort of a personal diary of sorts that will in real time record my struggles, trials, and victories along that journey. But perhaps the most significant reason is that I'm hoping this will serve as a medium to communicate with my friends and family my status and progress. I am blessed to have a lovely and supportive wife, 2 adult married children, and 3 awesome grandchildren. In addition, I have countless other extended family members and friends, and truly I've been richly supplied with a wonderful support network. And even as I contemplate this journey now, I acutely feel the loss brought on by this time of separation. I love you all and will miss you. I look forward to our reunion together. Finally, I've made a decision to make these videos broadly available to anyone on YouTube who finds them interesting or helpful. Please understand that I make no claims to being an expert hiker or backpacker or videographer or anything else along those lines. I, in all humility, recognize that many of these may prove comical as my on-the-hike training proceeds. I'm confident that there are many unexpected lessons that lay ahead in my path. In terms of my personal biography, I am a 69-year-old who retired from a 36-year career as an orthopedic surgeon. I identify as a follower of Christ, loving husband, father, and grandfather. My hiking background is pretty meager. I bike-packed and backpacked throughout the Canadian Rockies 1 year as a college student. I backpack hunted on 2 separate occasions in Alaska. And I hiked the Camino Frances in Spain over 6 weeks this past fall, along with my wife shortly after retiring. The most common question that I get when I relate my plans to folks is why? Why even undertake such a thing? And the answer is really manifold. To be honest, there is a significant void left after retiring from a much cherished and fulfilling career. When I couple that with the growing awareness of ever-advancing physical limitations imposed by aging, the aches and stiffnesses, along with new fatigability that has now become my new normal. Because of these, I have developed a certain sense of urgency, realizing that my opportunity to undertake such a trek is relatively short-lived. I find myself wanting to enter into this arena in order to fight against the future and inevitable decline. In the process, I hope to reassess my life's priorities and essentially boot camp myself for this next phase of life. The idea is to strip away life to some minimalist standard for a period and hopefully come away with a clearer sense of life's true priorities. This is very compatible with the Christian discipline of fasting to focus on prayer and reflection, and in faith expecting divine guidance. I make no assumptions that I know my true capacities with respect to this undertaking. My posture is not one of hubris. I think my goals are probably within my capacity, but my intention is to start slowly and build up as my capacities develop. And that's an approach that seemed to serve me well on the Camino this past fall. I will now explain in a little more depth about this adventure that will soon begin. So to try to give everyone kind of a visual of the scope of the Pacific Crest Trail, I thought I would, number one, film kind of an overview of what this trail is like. It obviously starts at the Mexico border, at the southern terminus, proceeds up, goes through the San Jacinto Wilderness area, the San Bernardino Mountains, kind of jogs over to the west, continuing along the crest, as it were, and then heading northward. And this trail in its entirety is a continuous footpath from Mexico all the way to the Canadian border, traversing 3 different states, all of California, Oregon, and Washington, before ultimately terminating at the Canadian border. So I wanted to speak a little about what specifically I'm going to be undertaking as I go on trail here in the next few weeks. And originally I had a plan of just starting from the border and walking north for 3 months and going as far as my legs could take me. And I anticipated this taking me well into the High Sierra and into Yosemite, perhaps as far as Tuolumne Meadows and maybe a bit further. But that's changed. And what's changed has been the weather. The Sierra and Southern California has seen record snowfall. In fact, it's a 50-year high in snowfall, with snowpack in some areas at 60 and even 70 feet. And so I think that this has called for a revision of that plan, and my plan has now been revised, and I'm going to go over that with you right now. Again, this is a provisional plan. I'm again going to stay light on my feet as we make this and hold this plan somewhat lightly, but as I see things now, I am planning on jumping around the High Sierra section because of that record snowfall. The snowfall presents a big problem in terms of problems generated when the snow begins to melt. You fall through the snowpack. That's obviously very fatiguing and problematic, but also as the snow melts off, the rivers rage, and crossing those rivers can become extremely dangerous. And so I think the better part of wisdom at this point is to modify the plan, and that modification is as follows. I am again going to start at the Mexico border and walk north through the high desert section of the PCT, which is a 700-mile section that extends through till this area that you see circled here called Kennedy Meadows South, and that's the typical entry point for the High Sierra. I'll probably go a bit further and cut across and hit the town of Lone Pine, where I can then take a bus and navigate around the High Sierra up to a small town north of the High Sierra range called Truckee, and re-enter the trail there at a point where elevations are a lot more moderate. And although there will be snow, it shouldn't be as severe as what is seen in the higher elevations, and continue the trail northward for again as long as my hiking window allows. I'm hoping this will allow me to cover enough distance to make it across the California-Oregon border to Ashland, Oregon, and probably come off trail at that point. So that's the plan. Finally, the format of these videos is certainly subject to modification as I learn how to efficiently utilize this medium. For now, I am projecting the following. I am anticipating daily entries to include the following: a morning report summarizing the prior night's experience, the weather forecast and the destination for the day, and any anticipated obstacles along the way. This would be followed by pictures and video from the trail, and these would be set to music and would not include narration. Finally, at the end of the day, once in camp and after setting up camp, I would have a campsite wrap-up that would include some pictures and video of the campsite, a discussion of highlights or high points of the day, and also a discussion of any low points of the day, and probably some brief mention of my physical and emotional inventory for the day. I am considering the possibility of also including a relive video. I know that many of you may have seen these. They have been utilized by a number of other hiking YouTubers. They essentially provide a rolling track of the trail progress that include mileage and elevation changes, and it's all superimposed on a satellite sort of three-dimensional image. I find them pretty interesting, and I did dabble in that somewhat on the Camino Frances and found them useful in documenting the day's trek. I may have to upload the videos when I get into town, when there is Wi-Fi available. So the videos may well come out in bunches and not day to day. That's about it for right now. I am looking forward to starting over the next month. Happy trails and best wishes until then. Thank you.